a full tank of gas, half a pack of cigarettes, it's dark, and we're wearing sunglasses. Hit it.
You want answers? I want the truth! You can't handle the truth!
Open the pod bay doors now.
Keep your friends close, but your enemies close.
I am nothing! No!
Fasten your seatbelts. It's going to be a bumpy night.
Get busy living. Or get busy dying.
What's going on, everyone? My name's Michael, and welcome to CINEMATES, a podcast where a bunch of mates chat about cinema over some drinks. Today I'm joined by Elijah. Thanks for coming on the show. How are you going?
It's a pleasure. Very happy to be here.
Oh, good. Keen to get into this one. So in this episode, we'll be breaking down the second part of the CINEMATES Kenobi series, where we'll be discussing Star Wars, The Clone Wars, the final season, as well as the first two episodes of the recently released Obi-Wan Kenobi, which has finally come out after some huge anticipation. And while we do that, we'll be drinking some mimosas. Also, we're trying to get to 55-star reviews on Spotify, so please make sure you're following the podcast and give us a healthy 5 stars if we deserve it. Also, check out the CineMaze YouTube channel where I post video essays on film and TV characters. Now, getting into it, to those who are new to the podcast, Elijah, I like to get an idea of who our guests are and what they like to watch. So I ask a few questions about cinema. First question, Robert Pattinson or Andrew Garfield?
Robert Pattinson. After the Batman, no question.
Oh, okay, that did it for you?
Yeah, very, very easy decision for me.
Nice. Do you like any of Garfield's work as well?
Yeah, but not Spider-Man. That's the
You don't
comparison
like
I make straight away.
Okay, fair enough.
Yeah, I think Tom Holland's a pretty good Spider-Man.
Prefer Tom Holland over
Yeah,
Garfield.
probably. Yeah, a bit quirkier.
Yeah, they're different, but that's okay.
But do rate Andrew Garfield as an actor.
Yeah, for sure. He's got some great pieces of work. Next question, David Fincher or Adam McKay?
Adam McKay.
Okay. What are your favorite McKay films?
That's a good question. I chose his name. He was the second one. I've actually never heard of either.
What? Are you serious?
Yeah.
Adam McKay, like the other guys, Don't Look Up, The Big Short, Vice.
Who's he in the other guys?
No, he's the director.
Oh, right. Yeah, well, there you go.
Have you seen those?
The other guys?
Have you seen those movies, right?
Yeah, I think I'm thinking of another of the other guys.
There's only one.
Mark Wahlberg, Will Ferrell.
That's the film.
Yeah, no, it's a great film.
Yeah, he directed that.
Yeah, never heard of him. Sorry.
Okay, David Fincher then. Social Network.
Social Network's a
Girl with
film.
a Dragon Tattoo. Benjamin Button.
Haven't watched Girl with the Dragon Tattoo because I've been meaning to read the book first.
Okay.
So it's on the
Gone
watch
Girl?
list.
7?
Great movie.
7?
7? Yeah, right.
Okay.
Him.
David Fincher.
100%.
There you go.
100%.
See, you've seen them all, but you just don't know the director.
7's a good film.
Great
Right up my
film.
alley, like the psychological thriller.
Thriller. Absolutely. Such a good one. Next question, Nicole Kidman or Kate Blanchett?
Oh, that's a tough one. I'm going to go Kate Blanchett.
Why? What's gotten you there?
I think she can play a wider range of roles, or at least that's what I've seen.
You think Kidman kind of has the same sort of character in most of her roles?
Yeah. Like, I think she's a great actor.
Yeah.
And, like, compared to the average actor, she can play more roles, but I think Kate Blanchett's probably just got that more variety.
Yeah, for sure. Fair enough. Next question, and we just touched on it. The Other Guys or Wedding Crashers?
Wow. I'm a Will Ferrell man through and through.
Okay. So you're going with The Other Guys?
Yeah.
Nice.
Desk Pops.
September 08. Next question, Stranger Things or Game of Thrones?
Game of Thrones. I've never got into Stranger Things.
Really?
Yeah, never seen
Have you tried or just never got around to it?
Never
Okay.
tried.
And were you happy with the final season of Game of Thrones?
Yeah. Like, it was tough. Wasn't there... I actually saw something during the week. It was like... It was the only season that they did without the writing of
George.
George,
Yeah.
and I feel you could tell.
Well, I'm pretty sure there was meant to be maybe 2 or 3 more seasons with the rest of the story. So they crammed it all in.
Yeah.
Which, just ended up with what came out. So
Yeah.
it was a bit
just
disappointing.
too much. And it was like unbelievable for however many seasons before. 6?
Yeah.
6 seasons before.
Exactly. Such a good show. Getting into the deeper questions. First one, most memorable movie that you saw in cinemas.
That's a good one. Star Wars are the ones that I remember.
Okay.
Like, so I remember every time I've seen a new Star Wars in cinema.
A lot of hype around each.
Yeah, exactly. I remember watching La La Land, going, that was ridiculous.
Yeah.
Actually, no, Interstellar.
Okay, nice.
I saw Interstellar after it was a Borders movie night. And we
Yeah.
all went back.
You all got to choose one movie or something. Yeah.
Yeah. And it was Interstellar or something else. And, everyone went to Interstellar. And I remember going back to the boarding house, just looking up black holes, looking up, et cetera,
Getting
et
into the
cetera.
science of
Yeah,
it.
exactly.
Wanting to become an astronaut.
Yeah.
That's so good. Yeah, definitely a memorable one. Next question. Fastest TV show binge.
Oh,
You've had a few, have you?
yeah. Seinfeld.
Really?
Just went through it.
Oh my God.
Clone Wars I went through it quick as well.
Okay.
I think the short episodes get me.
Yeah. Seinfeld, yeah, pretty quick episode. You can just easily churn through them all.
Exactly.
Clone Wars definitely deserving of a binge as well. So good answer there. Next question. Favorite Australian movie?
It's a tough one. Does In Between Us 2 count? Set in Australia?
Yeah, if you want. We could say that.
Maybe Lion was a very good movie. I
Great
remember watching
movie.
that. What's his name? Dev Patel?
Dev Patel, yeah, main character. Nicole Kidman.
Yeah, there you go. Sorry, Nicole.
No, great movie. I think it's quite underrated. It did well in awards, but such a good movie.
I saw it with you, didn't I?
No,
Hayden Orpheum?
no.
Saw it
Maybe
with
someone else. Maybe someone else. No, you definitely didn't invite me. Yeah, great film though. Next question. A movie that you think everyone needs to see.
Perks of Being a Wallflower.
Nice. Good answer. Bit left field.
Yeah?
Great film though. Why do you say that? Why does everyone need to see it?
Oh, it's just so good. The trials and tribulations of being a teenager.
Yeah.
Good soundtrack.
Great soundtrack. I feel it's pretty underrated as well.
Yeah, you don't
Gets
hear
swept
about
a bit
it much.
under.
Yeah.
Yeah. Emma Watson.
Helps.
Great cast.
Yeah.
Such a good movie.
And the is it Ezra?
Ezra Miller, yeah.
He's an actor.
Yeah, he's gone a bit off the wagon since.
Really?
Have you heard about his
No.
antics? He's been like assaulting old people when he gets drunk.
Yeah, that'd do it.
Yeah, he
It's
has
a pretty fair off the rails categorization then.
Yeah. Great movie though. Definitely can attest to Perks of Being a Wallflower. Favorite streaming service?
I'm gonna go Disney Plus just because it's got Star Wars. I don't watch too many like
TV
shows
shows?
or movies.
Okay.
But if something's on, then I'll just binge it like you were saying.
Yep. Absolutely. Some great content from Disney Plus, which we'll get into. Last question, TV show that you're watching at the moment.
Obviously being Saturday, we've just been absolutely blessed with the new series of Obi-Wan.
Yep. First 2 episodes.
Yeah.
So that's what you're watching at the moment?
Yeah.
Nice. And we will definitely get into our thoughts on that later in the episode. Good answers there, Elijah. So in the last episode, we had a CINEMATES elevator pitch from community member Spencer, who recommended the TV show from Apple TV Plus, Severance. And I absolutely loved this. Have you seen Severance?
No, I haven't. Any good?
So good.
What's it about?
It's about a tech company that creates this medical procedure that splits your working life from your personal life. And basically the main character, his working life version of himself and his outside of work version of himself slowly start to piece together what's going on. And it's just such a good story, so unique. Directed by Ben Stiller.
Yeah.
Great cast. The cast all kill it. The cinematography is so good. The setting is quite like kind of quirky. Yeah, just all on point. I smashed the whole season in about a week.
Wow.
which is pretty telling of how good it is.
Is it like a 7-episode, 1 hour?
I think it's 10 episodes, like 50 minutes.
Yeah.
But like great quality, great TV. Finale leaves on a huge cliffhanger, so they're hopefully going to renew for some more seasons. But yeah, definitely watch it. Severance, so good. Thanks so much for the elevator pitch, Spencer. And we'll definitely be discussing it on the podcast soon. So getting into the Clone Wars and Season 7, to the listeners out there who haven't seen either yet, Elijah, what would you say about the TV show in one word?
Did think about this. I'm going to say polished.
Polished?
Yeah.
Why do you say that? Without giving any spoilers.
It's a complete experience.
Yeah.
So you think about character arcs, think about the music, think about like its role in the whole Star Wars universe.
Nice. Yeah.
I don't think they could have done it much better.
No, completely agree. My one word's going to be amazing. Same sort of reasons. I think that it fills a lot of the gaps between the movies and the rest of the kind of Skywalker story.
Yep.
As well as introducing some other characters, like you mentioned, a lot of other character arcs that just show how great the Star Wars universe is. So if you haven't seen it and you are a Star Wars fan, I was kind of late to watching Clone Wars.
So was I, actually.
Yeah, I only watched it kind of very recently, and yeah, would definitely recommend it. And Disney Plus makes it pretty easy. You can watch the essential episodes, or like the Ahsoka episodes, so you don't have to watch the whole thing. But yeah, definitely worth a watch if you haven't already. Definitely go see it. You've heard our words here. So now we're going to be getting into it, but just before we do, we'll take a short ad break. All right, getting into Clone Wars Season 7, the final season. Elijah, what do you reckon the best parts of it was?
Is a controversial take.
Okay.
But I think the best scene undoubtedly in Season 7's the Ahsoka Maul lightsaber duel.
Oh, yeah.
And I'll go as far to say as it's the best lightsaber duel in Star Wars.
You reckon?
I don't think there's one better.
Revenge of the Sith, Mustafar between Anakin and Obi-Wan? You reckon better than that?
Yeah, I'd say so.
Wow.
Obviously, in terms of importance, nowhere near.
Yeah.
But it was so clean.
It was very
Editing,
clean.
It was very different to like
Yep.
the graphics, like in all the other lightsaber duels.
Different use of the Force as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, I probably don't agree, but it was still up there. Great battle. I think, yeah, that sort of scene and that rivalry between Ahsoka and Maul is really good in this season, and particularly the show itself. Like, the Clone Wars really shines a light on how great of a character Ahsoka is, especially being Anakin's Padawan, which if you haven't watched it, you wouldn't really understand. But yeah, at this point, she's left the Jedi Order, but she's still able to kind of verse Maul, who's so powerful. He's controlling Mandalore at this point. And also Maul, like, gets fired lasers at him and he can just like force them away.
Yeah.
Like, he's just so powerful. And
Must
then
be nice.
yeah, it must be nice. Yeah, such a good scene. I thought as well, it's great that we're talking about the sort of end of the season, but it's great that the battle on Mandalore and the kind of conflict between Bo-Katan and her kind of followers and Ahsoka against Maul and his followers is happening at the same time as Revenge of the Sith.
Yeah.
And Anakin and Obi-Wan are like fighting droids and stuff in the Clone Wars at the same time, but they also help out Ahsoka.
Yeah.
And you start to kind of get drips of the story happening elsewhere.
And everything starts to integrate.
Yeah.
Like they all come together.
It's so good.
Yeah. I think they do that so well. There's another part where they're having like a Jedi Council meeting and it's a scene in Revenge of the Sith.
Yeah.
But in Clone Wars, they show the people who are the holograms as people. And then the actual meeting where I think it's like Mace Windu,
Obi-Wan,
Yoda.
I think Yoda.
Yeah.
Might just be them. And maybe Anakin as well.
Yeah.
But
But it shows the reverse of that where whoever the holograms were are the people in real life in Clone Wars, and
Yeah.
like that's kind of what I meant by like the one word in polished. Like
So polished.
like the attention to detail is pretty
Yeah,
incredible.
like if you think about the writing there, a lot of it was David Filoni, but like you think about, if Ahsoka is like on this other planet and this story's happening, how can we like weave it in? And they just think of the best ways to do it, such as that.
Yeah, I think like you can only imagine the people who are involved in this kind of stuff are just absolute nuffies. Like
Yeah,
would
they
it
know
back to
everything.
front.
Yeah,
So I'd want to be putting in as many Easter eggs as they can.
100%.
So like I think stuff like that helps the Clone Wars like legitimize the prequels.
Oh, absolutely. I think it made me appreciate them more even.
Yeah.
Now that you get more of a story out of it.
Yeah.
I think another scene as well is kind of earlier in the season, but follows the same sort of arc. Anakin is kind of facing off against this troop of droids, and he's just being such a beast. Like there's like on that bridge, and there's thousands of droids everywhere, and he's trying to stall all the droids, and the clones are like hiding under the bridge underneath.
Yeah.
And then he is like hundreds of meters away, but he forces this droid like leader to him and just like cuts his head off.
Yeah.
But he's just like so powerful, and Obi-Wan says like how he's overdoing it. And this is before like his downfall, but you start to see him like abusing his power.
Yeah, for sure.
And I thought it
for
was
sure.
cool that because most of the Clone Wars you see this like very cheerful, normal Anakin, but you're starting to get this like kind of abusive power. What did you think about that?
I think the one thing that stood out for me in that scene was they have a very similar scene in Star Wars 6. And it's when Luke's about to jump into the Sarlacc pit that Jabba's forcing him into.
Yeah.
And he's kind of, instead of colluding with the clones like Anakin, he's colluding with R2.
Yeah.
But it's the same stuff. Like all the hand gestures are the same, and like they're kind of looking over with their eyes.
Yeah. Just like little sort of repeated funny like tactics like that. Just and so subtle as well. You wouldn't really pick up on it. I thought another thing just on the kind of timing with Revenge of the Sith, they also say how there's like an attack on Coruscant from General Grievous and stuff like that. And at the time with Ahsoka, Anakin like hasn't seen her in a while, but he gives her lightsabers back. And I didn't realize this until later, but that's like the last time that she sees him before he turns to the dark side, because they then go back. But I thought that was a cool little moment. And then we also get kind of Obi-Wan starting to talk about this Darth Sidious that they've been looking for, and Anakin killing Count Dooku. And then he says that he's got to go to Utapau, talks about Anakin's like assignment to observe Senator Palpatine to Ahsoka. And she's like, oh, like what's going on? And the tension like starts to slowly build. And then Maul talks about how he foresees, he doesn't say what, but he foresees what will later be Order 66. And he wants to like take over power after that.
Yeah.
And he has a vision that Skywalker's becoming Vader.
Yeah.
And he talks to Ahsoka about it. And then kind of
right before the duel.
Right before. And he says that this Darth Sidious is going to reveal himself soon.
Yeah.
And I thought that was really cool because I hadn't really thought about it. Like, and my brother mentioned this on the Revenge of the Sith episode. Like Darth Sidious, Palpatine, he's been waiting years for this whole plan.
Yeah.
The only reason they found out about him was because he revealed himself. And I didn't quite realize that. I thought it was a bit like just, I don't know, just kind of random when I first watched it when I was like 10. But now I have a better appreciation of like just how set up it was and how
like the cunning and the like not strategy, but like how his plan comes to fruition.
Yeah. And like Maul being the former apprentice of Sidious kind of understands that.
Yeah.
And he talks about how Anakin's been groomed and stuff.
Yeah.
And that's what happened, but you don't obviously get told that when watching it.
No, I agree. I think, like you were saying, it seemed to be like a really weird weirdly long amount of time that Anakin was away from Obi-Wan and Ahsoka
Yeah.
in that final season, especially having like watched all the other seasons, and it's every episode where it's those three doing everything together.
Yeah.
And I think as well, like you kind of see like his downfall really starts when he's away from them.
Yeah.
Or at least like it starts accelerating.
Absolutely. Especially not being Ahsoka's master.
Yeah.
Because he's like,
Yeah.
you know, able to be a bit more corrupted by Palpatine.
Well, he has a master then.
Exactly.
So it changes a bit as well. But what you were saying on Sidious, like you see his role, like it can't really be communicated too much in the prequels because of how much time there is.
Yeah,
well,
that's
it could
true.
have been, but the movies would have had to have taken a completely different route.
Yeah.
And I think you kind of understand that, like how many strings he's pulling all the time.
Yeah.
And I think there like was a certain point in the show. I think it would have been well before season 7 where like I think he smiles really weirdly, and obviously you have the knowledge of who he is. But if you're watching it completely new and oblivious of what happened in the movies, you can even see him slowly coming out of the shadows.
Yeah.
Which I thought was really cool.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, going back to your polished word, it's just like that extra context and gives you that extra appreciation for it.
Yeah.
Yeah, going back to the battle, obviously such a good scene. Maul then gets captured. And we really start to get that acceleration of the story along with Revenge of the Sith. Bo-Katan is now in charge of Mandalore, which kind of comes into Mandalorian. But Ahsoka then goes their separate ways, and we start to see she goes on the kind of clone ship. But when you go on there, or when she goes on there, all the clones on the ship, instead of being dressed up as clones, they're now wearing the like Empire uniform, not as like stormtroopers.
Yeah.
They're wearing this other uniform, and you're like, wait, what? Like, what's going on? And then the music starts to really build, and this is one of my favorite scenes. So we see Darth Maul and Ahsoka both hearing what's happening with like on Coruscant. They're hearing Anakin in Palpatine's office with Mace Windu, and you get the real like Samuel Jackson, Hayden Christensen voices like, don't listen to him, Anakin. And they can hear it, and they're like, what the hell is going on? And then you see Palpatine in the Clone Wars say, execute Order 66, and like the music and everything is just like blasting. It's so good. What'd you think of that scene, Order 66?
Oh, I think it's something that they've like kind of brought into a lot of the other shows as well. Like they're trying to communicate, or not communicate it, but present it a lot more.
Yeah.
And I think Clone Wars does it really, really well. I think especially because Clone Wars, you kind of build like a understanding and a relationship with the actual clones.
Yeah.
So like you get to
big
understand
time.
Rex, you get to understand Fives,
Yeah.
and all them. Even like Bad Batch, like they come in Clone Wars. I think
100%.
they were introduced before.
In this season, they were. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's hard. It was harder watching that, even though like, it's not like a live action kind of thing.
Exactly. I think as well, like talking about Rex, who's the like clone commander that's been like, you know, really close with Ahsoka and Anakin and stuff. When that happens, he drops his helmet and his inhibitor chip now is like, but he's hit his head or something.
Yeah.
And he has to kill Ahsoka, and he's like pointing his guns at her, and he's like shaking.
Yeah, a moment of hesitation.
Yeah, and then she has to like fight off all these clones. Again, music is just like blaring, and she like escapes luckily. But you start to also hear the clones talking about Order 66, how it's like killing all the Jedi or it's treason against the Empire.
Yeah.
And that kind of adds a bit of an extra element, because when you're watching Revenge of the Sith, you think, oh, they just turn on them because they're blind type thing.
There was no context.
There was no inhibitor chip mention, which is a huge part of this and Bad Batch. What do you think about that sort of extra part?
I actually really like the storyline of it, because you have to explain it somehow.
Yeah, and they did it well.
Yeah, like I don't think there's any logical way of doing it without some kind of like technology based thing, or
Yeah.
like something that wasn't like brainwash or
Something like that.
So I actually think they did it really well, and I think you have to make it like a big storyline in a show like Clone Wars.
Oh, definitely.
Because it's such a big turning point in the whole of like Star Wars.
Yeah,
you know?
literally. And as well, like Rex is, can't remember where she sees the kind of hologram message, but Ahsoka later sees a message where that was like blocked, where Rex was talking about finding out about these inhibited chips being put into their brains. And he's kind of questioning like, oh, like we don't understand what they're for. So
It's there.
yeah, but it's there. And you can see that the clones actually are trying to like work it out themselves before they obviously don't. But again, it shows how they're still like these noble people, especially Rex. He's such a good character.
Yeah. I think that's why, like, you have Rex, you have Fives, all the Bad Batch, all the clones that they personalize for you.
Yeah. Rather than just being this like clone army that
exactly.
you're not attached to.
It humanizes them.
Absolutely.
Like it shows you, like you were saying, like they're real people, and how when they do transform's not the right word, but
change.
Yeah. Like how much has had to happen because of that.
Yeah.
And I think that also again goes back to Sidious and in his role and everything.
100%. Yeah, and at this point as well, after the kind of Order 66 scene and Ahsoka escaping, Maul's also escaping as well because he lets him free as a diversion. And we just see how powerful it is. Like he's destroying these clones. Like, I think at one point he even like uses the Force to make a clone shoot another clone. Like it's ridiculous how powerful he is. And I'm not sure if they're going to do it, but he's obviously got a huge rivalry with Obi-Wan.
Yeah.
If he was to be in the Obi-Wan show, I think that would be an insane
I was
battle.
thinking about this. I was thinking about it. I don't know if he will. Because remember the scene in Rebels and he comes onto Tatooine.
Yeah.
And it's like he didn't know he was on Tatooine.
Oh, true.
And he didn't know he was really even alive. I think he goes like, oh, he lives. He has that like moment of like that revelation.
Yeah.
Because Ezra got the pyramid thing.
Yeah.
The holocron? Sith holocron?
Yeah.
What it's called?
No, it's called Wayfinder. Is that it?
Could be.
I don't know.
One of them. One of the two. 50-50. And so I because he was the first person that you think, like, especially after watching Clone Wars, like you realize how much of like a hatred and vengeance that he has for Obi-Wan.
Yeah.
That would be something that would be unbelievable in this, especially live action.
Oh,
and I
absolutely.
think his like live action has kind of been hinted in like Solo.
Yeah.
When he came on the hologram.
Exactly.
So I think he's been
still out there.
I know. He's been something that I've been waiting for in like Mandalorian. But yeah, I just don't think the timing is gonna
line up. Yeah, we'll see. They could definitely go with it, but yeah, it just goes to show he's such a powerful character. I think as well, like Ahsoka saves Rex and gets his inhibitor chip out of him, but Maul's like destroying the ship, and the ship starts to go down, and Ahsoka and Rex are trying to escape, but there's like thousands of clones still on there.
Yeah.
And they like manage to get out, and Ahsoka's like force pulling Darth Maul's ship, and like it's just such a cool scene.
Yeah. Another like you were saying with Anakin, and like I mentioned with Luke, like people at Star Wars love a diversion. Because they had all the droids going up the left of the of the ship's interior. And
Rex pretends to be killing Ahsoka as well.
And then he actually makes he has a good quote there. He's like, I'm not gonna kill her because she's not actually a Jedi.
Yeah. That like, and you'd think that they would allow that. But yeah, I thought that was really.
They've all fought with her.
Yeah, exactly.
So what do you believe?
I know it's a very interesting scene. I think like this ending of the episode is like some of the best Star Wars I've ever seen. Like the ship ends up going down. Maul escapes. All the droids, all the clones die. Rex escapes in a ship, but Ahsoka has to kind of fly her way into the ship. But the ship goes down, they all die. And the cinematography and the music was just like so good. And I was kind of getting vibes of like Blade Runner. That's kind of the music that was playing. I don't know if you remember it. But like some of the scenes afterwards, it's obviously a very sad moment. Ahsoka's standing in front of all the clone helmets because they've been like buried. What do you think of that?
Yeah, it hits home.
Imagine
that, like everything you've been doing for however long, and like all those people, like it's not like they're gone. Like
no,
before they were gone, they all turned on you and trying to kill you.
Exactly.
So yeah, it'd have been tough. And then Vader comes in after.
Yeah.
For him, it's not the clones, it's
Ahsoka. Yeah. So there's a lot to unpack there. So first thing, like the imagery itself, like you could pause it and that could be like a painting. Like it was so, the production of this season was just like amazing.
Even the, I think why I like the lightsaber battle between Ahsoka and Maul so much, like you were saying, the production, the way that they fight, like I feel that, like, I don't know a thing about fighting technique, but it looked proper.
Yeah. So good.
Yeah.
And it's really come a long way from, because it was originally on Cartoon Network.
Yeah.
And now it's like this, like, they've probably got a huge budget for it, but just so much better.
Yeah.
And again, touching on, she throws her lightsabers away because she's sick of the Jedi and all the conflict that it's caused. And then Darth Vader comes and finds them. And he just leaves with them. My question is, she had them back in Mandalorian, like another 10 years later.
Wow. I know where this is going.
How does she get them back from Darth Vader? Or is that going to be explored in the TV show Ahsoka?
What about Obi-Wan?
Oh, Obi-Wan, yeah.
Imagine that.
That's a huge question.
Every Star Wars series needs one big character to come in the last 30 minutes of an episode.
Always got to have a good finale with another character.
That could be it.
That could be it. But yeah, such a good show. The quality is so good. Any other final takes on Clone Wars?
It was just so polished. It made, I think its best feature was that it made characters that were part of the prequels main characters.
Yeah, absolutely.
For example, Maul. Like, you don't know how strong Maul is.
No.
Right? You don't know how powerful he is.
And he's in one movie.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And he doesn't talk.
No. But here he's like this really wise, evil, but like smart, powerful guy.
Yeah.
Very cunning, very twisted.
Yeah.
But again, he doesn't say a word except when he gets fucking cut in half.
Exactly. And same with the clones, even Ahsoka. Well, Ahsoka wasn't in
She wasn't in the movies at all.
Like, you've just built an entire character from scratch so well.
So well.
And they're now a central piece in
100%.
whatever Disney are going to do with Star Wars in the future. Well, she's obviously got her own series that's going to come out, which I think, like, in terms of anticipation, that and Obi-Wan
would be the biggest. Yeah. 100%. I cannot wait for those. My sort of final thing to add to that as well is I thought it was really good that we met the Bad Batch.
Yep.
Bad Batch was such a good show as well. But it contextualizes and humanizes, as you said, the clones more.
For sure.
Talking about inhibitor chips and another key thing, and this is more in the Bad Batch, but how the Empire went from clones to conscripted troopers, stormtroopers. I thought that was something that starts to get hinted in this, but just another thing that makes the show so great. So yeah, it was so polished. Production quality is great. So if you've listened to this whole thing, I would definitely watch it. It's so good, and I'm so glad that I finally did. Any bad parts?
It's tough. I think if I had to pick one, I'd say, like, there are a lot of filler episodes. And the one I think straight to is it's like the droid rescue and it's an episode just of droids.
Yeah.
And they're on a planet and they're led by like some little bug.
Yeah. Like, yeah, there's obviously heaps of character arcs, but you can definitely skip a lot of episodes.
Yeah.
And they're pretty short, so it's not like...
Yeah, it's not like you're committing to something.
Yeah, yeah.
Like it's something, it'll just come on.
Absolutely. Yeah, I didn't really have any bad parts. I mostly only watched the essential episodes, so I probably missed a few of those filler ones. But yeah, great Star Wars, really builds the universe, a must watch. And yeah, even if you just watch the essentials or the Ahsoka ones, like it's just going to make your Star Wars experience that much better. So yeah, great show. Getting into Obi-Wan Kenobi. It's now out on Disney Plus, episodes 1 and 2. We've just watched it.
Is that a paid shout out from Disney Plus to you?
No, just a loyal fan. Just
Disney
trying
Plus
to
CINEMATES little
collaboration. No. Just genuine
Must be going well.
genuine Star Wars fan. Just getting the word out. Let's talk about the first 2 episodes. What were your initial thoughts?
Pretty good. Like we're sitting here right now recording.
Yeah,
I've got a pretty disheveled Anakin just looking straight at me.
in the back to tank.
Yeah. I can't wait. I think the first few episodes really set the scene quite well.
Yeah.
The intro was so tiff.
The recap.
Oh my
God. Talk about it.
Oh,
Get into it.
that's the kind of thing where like you're on YouTube and you'll watch a video and you're like, I'll tell you what there isn't. No one's put this together like an Obi-Wan. Like they probably have, but not like that.
Nah. So good.
And what I'm hoping is, and I think it kind of has happened and it would make sense, but what they've focused on in that intro is what the whole series is going to focus on.
Yes, good point.
Which makes it exciting because obviously you've got the Luke and Leia thing that the first 2 episodes have been very much about.
Yeah.
But the whole focus for that intro was Obi-Wan and Anakin.
Yeah.
Like the whole focus.
Also, someone else you're forgetting that was a big part of Obi-Wan's life. Qui-Gon.
Wow. Actually, it did touch on that in the first
Yeah,
episode, didn't it?
Yeah.
Imagine, is Liam Neeson, has he been casted?
They haven't said.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I completely agree. I think the recap really targeted certain things. I remember like just talking about starting Kenobi, like pressing play. It goes into the recap straight away and you're like, oh, what's this?
Yeah.
And then they start, like the music's great. They hit all these amazing scenes. I had genuine like goosebumps and chills the entire time.
Yeah.
And a few people have since messaged me saying that they started it. People have talked about crying during the recap, having goosebumps. Like they start it exactly how you want it.
Yeah.
And then
Nostalgia
at its peak. And then first scene, Order 66.
Yeah. That was
with some
unreal.
younglings. That was so good. What'd you think of that?
As soon as I saw the younglings, I was like, they're done.
Yeah.
They are done.
They're gone.
I've seen it before, but
It was different.
it was different.
Different perspective.
Yeah. And again, first actual like scene from this series.
Yeah.
Obviously, it contextualizes like why Obi-Wan's away, but I think it's something that they might explore a bit more. Hopefully,
I think it is. I think I really liked where they started with it. I thought that, we kind of got it in Boba Fett with Grogu.
Yeah.
But and his flashback. But I thought it was really cool to see the perspective of the younglings. I think they escape, and it's implied that one of the younglings is Reva, the third sister Inquisitor. So that could come into it later, which we'll touch on. But yeah, loved that they started there.
Something as well in that, like, Anakin's somewhere in there.
He is.
It was in the temple.
Do you reckon they'll...
Was it not?
It's in Coruscant, in the Jedi Temple. Do you reckon they'll have some, like, extra Anakin Jedi Temple scenes?
That'd be huge.
Here's a theory. I've just thought about this. Do you reckon that Anakin sees those younglings running away and he takes her and makes her an Inquisitor? Or do you reckon that happens later?
I don't know. That's a good point.
That'd be pretty cool if they added in some extra Jedi Temple Anakin scenes.
100%. And I think why I like that one as well, obviously, Anakin's there and he had a big part in that. But I was a bit worried and hesitant coming into the series because when someone like Darth Vader and Anakin's in it and Hayden Christensen's coming back, you're like, oh, I hope he's not just in 2 episodes.
Yeah, or he's not just in the helmet.
Yeah.
You're hoping that he's a big part of it.
100%.
I thought as well, we then transitioned to Tatooine and the Inquisitors come down and they're looking for Jedi. And if you've seen the Rebels, you would see they've like hunted these Jedi. But I thought it was really cool that you saw what they actually say to like people to try and snuff them out.
Yeah.
And Reva fires like a shot at this like guy and you see someone's like use the Force and it's this Jedi in the back. But I don't know if you know him, but the actor playing him is Benny Safdie, who's been in like a few fairly big movies like Licorice Pizza and stuff. He's a director as well. Directed Uncut Gems. Have you seen that?
Yep.
So
I've seen the meme of it.
Yeah, so he's the director of that and he's playing this Jedi, which is pretty cool. So I was laughing a bit at that. But then we go to Obi-Wan and he's this like broken man working at like this butcher in the desert. And I was just thinking to myself, like
cutting sashimi.
I was just thinking to myself, like, I'm so glad that they made this. And it's like a few minutes in, but I'm glad that they have brought his character back because there's such a gap between Revenge of the Sith and New Hope. And you wonder what he's been doing.
Yeah.
And I love that he also doesn't say anything for ages.
No, 100%. I think.
What do you think about the introduction?
I think what they do really well is they show you that he's actually been doing nothing.
Genuinely nothing.
Yeah. Or not.
Well, we don't know, but he's just like living each day as it is.
And it's like, it's obviously become very like monotonous for him. Like you have those 3 scenes that are exactly the same where he takes the meat. Gives
for
it
his
to his
camel thing, yeah.
I didn't know what to call it.
Completely agree. I think as well, when we do get his voice, I think he's talking to Owen Lars, played by Joel Edgerton. And the voice sounds exactly like Revenge of the Sith. It's like he's, straight back into it. But it also kind of leans towards Alec Guinness in New Hope.
Yeah.
So I thought that was really cool. And as well, when he kind of goes back to his cave, like he's living in solitude.
Yeah.
I thought it was sick that he's having nightmares about Anakin and Qui-Gon and stuff.
And again, the same, like you were saying in Clone Wars when Ahsoka hears the actual Anakin. And
the actual
it's
other
the exact same.
So
a few
good.
more scenes, chuck them in there.
Yeah. And as well, like, if you think about that, like so much bad shit has happened to Obi-Wan.
Yeah.
Like his master gets killed when he's young. He has to train Anakin. He then has to like kill him, or he thinks. He also in the Clone Wars, which if you haven't seen it, you wouldn't know, but he has that relationship with the Mandalore leader Satine.
Yep.
She dies. Maul kills her in front of him.
And she dies without him, or without her knowing that, because like a Jedi can't love someone.
Yeah, and doesn't he say that he would have left the Jedi for her?
Yeah.
Yeah, so all these things have just gone so bad for him. Like he'd be the most like traumatized person ever. So I'm glad that they showed that.
And you can tell even his like hesitancy of wanting to go save Leia.
Yeah.
I'm not sure. Obviously, we've spoiled a few things already.
We'll get into Leia. Yeah.
But he like to have hesitancy like that for something that in any other series that you've watched where Obi-Wan's featured in, he'd be running to do it without having to be told. And he's actually stopped, and Bail Organa has to come and convince him to go.
Yeah, literally.
Like you can tell that he's been absolutely weathered and
so weathered.
Like a lot of things
for 10 years as well. He's still having nightmares and being hesitant 10 years later. I think as well, like the Jedi played by Benny Safdie, like finds him and he's like, "Oh, please help me! Like, found you, Obi-Wan." And he's like, "No, like, stay hidden.
Yeah.
Don't know what you're talking about. Like, fuck off, basically."
And when he goes, if I have one bit of advice for you, just go into the desert and bury that thing in the sand. And then that's exactly what he's done.
Yeah.
When he goes to get his lightsaber to.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And same with Rey at the end of Rise of Skywalker.
We don't talk about 7, 8.
No, we don't.
Who's Rey?
Let's get into what you just mentioned, Leia. So we see him looking at Luke, and I thought from the trailers from that it was going to be about Luke mostly.
Yeah.
But I think they're leaning into Leia, so I'm really glad that they have done that. What do you think about
So
that?
am I. I like that they're exploring Leia a bit more. I think they've got a bit of work to do after all the extra powers that she was given in.
Yeah, they sure do.
But I think the little girl actor who played Leia
Yeah.
seems like one of the most perfectly casted people.
Oh, so well.
Yeah, like what are the words? She's cheeky, very cheeky.
Very cheeky. She's also 10 years old at this point, and
Yeah.
she's very smart,
Yeah.
witty, and I think that might be because she's got a bit of force in her.
Yeah.
Like she can read minds,
Yeah.
maybe. But yeah, loved that casting, and I love that. Just as like a small thing, like I love that we saw Senator Organa again. Like again, straight back into where he left off. I loved his character. Yeah, just cool to be on Alderaan as well. Something new.
Yeah, how cool is it when they bring back a character who like, is it revising? Is that
Yeah,
the right word?
revising their role. Yeah.
It just makes it like feel so much more interconnected.
Oh, so good.
Like imagine if they cast someone else as Darth Vader.
Yeah, that'd just be
No one, like genuinely no one would watch it.
no one. Or like imagine the uproar.
Yeah. Oh.
Yeah, it'd be insane. But loved that they went with Leia. She also like owns her cousin.
Yeah,
Who's
that
like,
was so funny.
Oh, you're not an Organa, like you're not one of us, and she just fucks him up.
You don't know where that's going either. Like you don't know if he's just belittling her, and then she's gonna go off and have a big like realization. Like,
Yeah.
oh, what am I doing? You know, doing all that as a 10-year-old.
Yeah,
But she just bites back.
bites back.
Yeah.
I also love that because you don't understand that. So she's been put there and adopted by Organa. And they've kept her at Alderaan the whole time. You don't quite understand. Imagine being in her position.
Yeah.
And the cousin's like, oh, apparently you're not allowed to leave. And she like knows that. And it was interesting to kind of actually hear that because it further contextualizes her character, which we haven't really like seen that part of her before.
Tell you what it reminds me a bit of, and this has just come to me. So reminds me loosely of Jon Snow.
Okay.
So he wasn't allowed to leave
Yeah, true.
because of who his parents were.
Yeah.
Very similar to Leia.
Yeah, absolutely.
Stuck there.
Maybe that's been stolen by
You reckon?
George R. R. Martin from Lucas.
Well,
That's an
couldn't have-
interesting
It couldn't have
take.
been.
Well, did he write them before Star Wars?
Well, Game of Thrones has been written before Obi-Wan.
That's true. But just in general, as a concept.
True. A
Um,
lot of things get stolen from Star Wars, though.
yeah.
Actually, I saw a TikTok during the week, and it was showing how every single storyline within Harry Potter is
Star Wars.
Yeah.
No way.
yeah,
The chosen one.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's pretty funny. So yeah, Leia ends up getting kidnapped. I thought it was a little funny Easter egg. Senator Organa and his wife or whoever it is say like, "Help us! Like you're our only hope."
Yeah.
And it's the same thing in Leia saying it in A New Hope.
Yeah.
One quick thing which you mentioned before we started recording, Leia then gets kidnapped and there's that chase scene in the forest. You got this
my
10-year-old kid running like so slowly.
God.
And these 3 like villains, fully aged, can't catch her. They're like, she like goes under a tree. Oh no, I can't.
it was so hard to watch.
Yeah, that was pretty bad.
It was like, have you seen those videos? And it's of like a rugby player running down a field.
Yeah.
But they've shortened the width of it. So it looks like they're just like bobbing up and down.
Yeah.
It's like a Mario.
Mario. Yeah.
Like it was literally like that.
Yeah, that was pretty bad.
Like if this sounds terrible, but if you're chasing after a little girl, You're gonna catch her quickly.
Yeah.
Aren't you?
A little 10-year-old kid.
Yeah.
Easily.
Like a few branches aren't gonna stop you.
No. You're going to jump over them or something.
As a paid bounty hunter as well.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. But she does end up getting kidnapped. Obi-Wan does kind of come around when Organa says, you couldn't save Anakin, but you can save her. And that was another moment of like chills. Like you see how off himself he is.
Yeah.
Because I think if you think about it, like he thinks that he killed Anakin.
Yeah. I didn't know that. So
Yeah.
I thought in Revenge of the Sith, he left him there because he couldn't kill him.
That's what I thought.
So I didn't think in his head it was just so consolidated that Anakin was dead.
Yeah. So I thought that was a really interesting point, especially we hear about it later, which we'll get into, but that was another great moment. Then he goes to that planet to save Leia. And one of the first things Obi-Wan sees is a homeless clone. How cool was that? What did you think about
He
that?
was taken aback, wasn't he?
Yeah.
I'm surprised.
Because if you think about it, he wouldn't know what had been happening elsewhere because
Yeah.
he's been on Tatooine.
I was thinking like why is the clone not recognize him?
Yeah.
But
That's true.
he was kind of acting as if he was really drunk.
Yeah.
So
On the spice.
yeah, that was the only thing I could think of. But yeah, that was definitely a pretty sobering moment for
Yeah.
everyone.
And he's very confused. Like he's kind of like, what? Like, what's happening?
Yeah.
Another thing is that I kind of noticed this at this point. In the trailers, they only really showed parts of these first two episodes. And they didn't show any Leia, which I thought was really good. So because of that, there's going to be some serious shit in the next, I think there's 6 episodes.
Yeah.
So the next 4 episodes, I was like thinking at this point, they've only really shown these first 2 in the trailer and that's it.
I know. I think there's one scene that I can think of when the Inquisitors are on that.
Oh, that like in the ocean
Water
type
planet?
thing.
Yeah.
But like other than that, I think
Yeah,
could be
no,
wrong.
I think you're right.
So that was something I just noticed at the time. I thought this was pretty funny. Like Obi-Wan hears that there's this Jedi on this planet. And he's like, "Oh, sweet, I'll go to the Jedi," and it's Kumail Nanjiani.
Wow.
And he's like a con artist. He's got these magnets that are like moving things around, and he's trying to get people off world for money.
Yeah.
And Obi-Wan's just like, what the hell?
When he first like is introduced, for me at least, I was kind of like, oh yeah, like this seems a bit legit. Like there was another Jedi on Tatooine.
Yeah.
And then as the scene goes on, you just kind of like keep looking at it going, what's happening here?
Yeah, what's actually going on? But that was
like his language is like, at the moment I'm playing a Jedi mind trick on you, and then the bloke just responds, yeah, and as if it's happening.
Yeah.
Man, and one of the most perfectly casted
Yeah.
for that character.
Yeah. I think in real life he's actually a huge Star Wars fan.
Really?
Yeah. He's obviously in the Marvel universe being an Eternal, but yeah, I think it was a great casting. And it kind of adds to his character. Like he was obviously playing a con artist,
Yeah.
and I'm sure he could play more serious things, but his casting kind of alluded to the fact that it was a bit of a joke.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that was pretty funny. Obi-Wan then actually does, find Leia, gets her out. And then we get the kind of showdown-ish between the third sister and Obi-Wan. What do you think of that? That sort of like chase scene, if you will, in that warehouse.
They're really cucking us with this first lightsaber battle, aren't they?
They are.
With Obi-Wan.
He hasn't opened his lightsaber yet.
Now, and I'm waiting for his 2 fingers.
What do you mean?
You know how he has that stance?
Oh,
Like the
yeah.
lightsaber goes over his shoulder. And
Yeah.
So I'm just waiting.
Mate. Actually, we kind of went a bit past it. He saves Leia with the Force because he's been disconnected for ages.
Yeah.
So that was good. We're starting to get... And I'm kind of glad that they haven't just given us it yet.
Yeah.
Like, it's going to be epic when it does come, hopefully. Fingers crossed. But
What do you mean, fingers crossed?
like
It's going to come.
yeah, but
You think they're doing a whole Obi-Wan series and he's not going to open his lightsaber?
no. But I'm just saying, fingers crossed. It's good. It's as good as I want it.
Yeah,
to.
yeah.
The expectations
Do
are.
you reckon will it be with Darth Vader?
I think so.
Really?
The image of on Disney Plus, the image is Obi-Wan with his lightsaber open and a black hand with a red lightsaber.
But do you think that'll be the first battle in the series?
Oh no. Maybe actually, because I've been watching heaps of like press that they've been doing like with Hayden Christensen.
They've been pretty funny.
It's great. Like they're getting back into it. And Ewan McGregor keeps talking about how the first time he saw Darth Vader again or Christensen in costume, he's talking about this scene where he like looks around and there's Darth Vader like there, and he says how he was like genuinely scared. So I'm thinking that maybe, in the next episode, maybe in the next episode there might be some sort of confrontation.
How many movie characters do you think there are where like an actor in that movie would be like you were saying, genuinely scared?
Scared, yeah. I don't know. He said it was like the first time that's ever happened in his acting career. Like genuinely fearful. Because he hasn't, Ewan McGregor hasn't encountered Darth Vader yet.
No.
Only Alec Guinness.
I was actually thinking like along this like similar lines. Like I don't think it's controversial to say that he's the best villain ever.
Darth Vader?
Yeah.
Yeah. Has to be.
But I don't think we've ever seen a side of him that's like, except for that like hallway scene in Rogue One, I don't think we've seen like how powerful and how destructive he is.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking it's either going to come in this and he's going to be a much bigger part, but alluding to what you were saying about all the press stuff with Hayden Christensen, I think he mentioned that one presenter asked him, how would you sum your role in this series up? And I think he said, and it was like, I think it was at a Disney event. He had like a whole live crowd.
Yeah. Star Wars celebrations.
Took his mic, put it up to his mouth, like just enough of a pause. And he goes, this is just the beginning.
Yeah. I think he said as well, like, this is where the fun begins or something.
That was definitely it. I've definitely misquoted that.
Yeah, because that's one of his lines when they're in Revenge of the Sith on the space battle. At the very start, he's like, this is where the fun begins. So, yeah, I think he will be a big part, hopefully. But really loved your point on Rogue One. That's like the only time, because we hear that Darth Vader's this like murderer, killed thousands of people, all this stuff in the originals.
But then what do we say? We see him fighting an old man in a pretty like averagely choreographed lightsaber battle.
But the Rogue One scene was like so good. He's like killing all these rebels. So I really hope that they have that in here.
Imagine, do you reckon it would ever be its own? Because I was thinking, how could you do it outside of this?
Well, Ahsoka as well.
Ahsoka.
He has to survive until, Return of the Jedi.
What about
you
reckon a Vader series is on the horizon?
Maybe, but like it'd be pretty dark.
I was like, it would be. I reckon a great way they could do it is it would be similar to how they've just done the recent Batman, like a noir.
Very like.
Is that the genre?
Yeah,
Noir?
Neo noir. Yeah, absolutely. That'd be really good. Just quickly getting back to the end of Obi-Wan, bit of a tangent there. I thought it was really cool when Obi-Wan's like hiding from the Inquisitor. It's been 10 years. On Revenge of the Sith, on Utapau, he like jumps down in front of Grievous and thousands of droids. He's like the most confident guy. But here he's like hiding from like this Inquisitor. I thought it just showed how, as you said before, disheveled he is. His confidence is gone. It's not the same person that we've seen.
Yeah, no, I agree. Do you reckon later in the series, when he starts to develop and find his groove again, we might get hit with another hello there?
I hope so.
Jumps in front of Vader.
Surely.
Imagine that.
That'd be.
Imagine the memes that would come from.
They have to give us some memes.
Oh.
as well. Like, big part that we're missing in that sort of scene, Reva stabs the Grand Inquisitor.
Yeah. What was
But
the first thing I said to you?
You said, like, isn't he meant to be alive or he dies in Rebels? Which I think is after this. So he has to come back alive. There's also the second episode. They're not just going to kill him off.
They kind of did with, oh no, we don't talk about 789, do we?
No.
Yeah, no.
Who are you going to say?
I was going to say they kind of do that with Snoke. Where like they characterize him as the main villain and then
thrust him off.
See you later.
That's true.
But yeah, that never happened.
Yeah. And then Obi-Wan gets the realization that Anakin is alive. And you see how like kind of tormented he is by it. Because he's been thinking that he killed Anakin this whole time. And now it's like, oh shit, what?
Yeah.
And then he says, Anakin. And at the very end of the show, we're looking at it right now. We get Vader in the Bacta tank healing himself.
Like he looks scary in that.
He looks so scary.
Like look at the eyes.
It doesn't
Obviously,
even
the face is all.
It doesn't even look like Hayden Christensen, right?
No.
But very keen to see what they do with it. So great ending there.
Serious. As I was saying to you, just needed 5 more minutes.
5 more. But
That's it.
I'm glad that they did because they got 4 more to go. So I can't.
Isn't it 6?
Yeah, but 4 more after this.
Is it only 6 episodes?
I think it's only 6 episodes total. I think. Could be very wrong. But yeah. Because it's just going to be this little story. I think.
Yeah, right.
But yeah, very keen to see what happens going forward.
Maybe that was the only way to get Ewan McGregor and Hayden Christensen back.
Maybe.
Yeah, small timeline.
So that is a wrap for Clone Wars, the final season, as well as the first 2 episodes of Obi-Wan Kenobi series. That is the end as well of the Kenobi Cinemates series. So thank you so much for listening to this episode of Cinemates, a podcast where a bunch of mates chat about cinema over some drinks. Huge thank you to Elijah for coming onto the podcast. It's great chatting with you.
Absolute pleasure.
No worries. As always, please let us know what you want to hear about in future episodes. And if you want to send in a mailbag or do an elevator pitch to me, send us a DM on Instagram or TikTok at cinemaze_. Otherwise, we'll catch you for the next episode. Thanks so much for listening to this episode of Cinemates. Make sure to follow us and leave a review on your chosen streaming platforms. Also, check out our Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube channel for more Cinemaze content. In the spirit of reconciliation, we acknowledge Australia's First Nations people as the traditional owners and custodians of the land and pay respect to the Cammeraygal people of the Eora Nation upon whose country Cinemaze is based. We honour the storytelling and culture of Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander communities across Australia. Also, in the spirit of chatting with mates, remember it's always important to check in with those around you. Whether it's friends, family, or colleagues, sometimes they may be going through a hard time, and chatting with them may reassure them that they aren't alone. If you or anyone you know is ever struggling, call Lifeline on 13 11 14.